Let's take a look at this lab on building your VPC and launching a web server. Now towards the end, we're going to have files on the web server. We're going to try and upload our special Mount San Antonio College index file that has your name and the lab name. And in order to do that, you're going to have to edit the file and put it somewhere that you can reach with wget. So I have a link ready for that, and we'll see how that goes towards the end. So you can see what we're going to expect to do, our virtual private cloud. We're going to create a VPC, create subnets, configure a security group, launch an EC2 instance into a VPC. So here we go. Hopefully we'll get this video down to 30 minutes or less. So make sure that you carefully read through all the instructions. There's a good chance that as I go through the lab, I'll have to go back and do something that I missed. So if you're shouting at the screen like, oh, you didn't click that, that's fine. So let's see, we're going to build the following infrastructure, and you could zoom in on your own a little bit, but we'll see. We're going to have, let's see, that'll be our region. Then we'll have 2 availability zones, the gateway, the lab VPC, or subnets. Okay. That's pretty straightforward here. There's some IP addresses, our 10.0.0.0/16s. Those are internal, and then our gateway, our zeros, those are external. Now this part I already did. I clicked the Start Lab because it took like 5 minutes to get going, and then I clicked this AWS. It opened in a new tab, and I moved that tab over here. So you can see that I'm logged in as Voclabs user 438 blah 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 blah. And you have my name right there because I logged into the Academy class as well. So there's some tips. That's great. Getting credit for your work. Now you're at Rio Hondo College, and the lab in Rio Hondo College says take screenshots of your lab and submit them. So the AWS Academy assignment says getting credit for your work. You're submitting through AWS Academy. That's great, but I want to see your screenshots in Canvas at Mount Sac. So make sure we take some screenshots as we complete each task. Let's go through and create our VPC. So I'm just going to go through, nothing special, just like we would be doing together following the instructions. So number 4, in the search box to the right of the services, search for and choose VPC to open the VPC console. So VPC to open the VPC console. In the top right of the screen, verify that it says North Virginia East US 1. North Virginia US East 1. That's probably the least expensive region. And we'll choose the VPC dashboard. So we're going to have to pick from all around here somewhere. So we'll have to find that. Choose the VPC dashboard link, which is towards the top left of the console. So we know what the left is. Now we just have to start looking. Where did it go? Did the whole AWS change since the last time you logged in? Because sometimes it happens. And also, maybe when the browser is smaller, it doesn't look the same as when the browser is bigger. So I see VPC dashboard right here, so I'll click on that. Now we're going to choose Create a VPC. We were already on the dashboard and nothing changed. So let's go create our VPC. So let's make sure we check these, VPC and more, VPC and more. And under the name tag auto generation, keep auto generated selected, auto generate. IPv4 CIDR block, we will keep that, okay. Number of availability zones, we'll choose 1. I thought it was 2 in the diagram, but I'll choose 1 because it says choose 1. Number of public subnets, keep the 1 setting. So number of public settings, keep the 1 subnets. Expand the customize subnet CIDR block. So let's customize subnet CIDR block and change public subnet CIDR block in US East 1A to a /24. It's 0.1.0/24, and the private subnet CIDR block to 0.1.0/24. 0.0.1.0/24. Now if you make a mistake on the VPC, you should probably just delete it and start over. I'm not certain that you can go in and successfully edit that and make those kind of changes. You might not even have access. So we've got 256 IPs in these. That's what the /24 means. So let's go down to NAT gateways to N1AZ. So we'll put the NAT gateway in one availability zone, and we'll set our VPC endpoints to none. We'll keep both DNS host names and DNS resolution enabled. Host names and resolution enabled. So it doesn't say to go into the additional tags. So let's go check number 7. In the preview panel on the right, confirm the settings you've configured. Okay? There's a lot of settings to scroll through. So I've got my US East 1, subnet public 1, subnet private 1, public, okay, route table and network connection, internet gateway, and US East 1. Those look good. So let's go to number 8, create a VPC. Uh-oh, it doesn't like this because it overlaps with another subnet. Maybe I typed it wrong. Is it a typo? We all double checked it together. The public should be 00. And that makes more sense because you don't want your public and private to overlap. So that's good that Amazon found that for us. And we'll go ahead and create. We have to wait until all the resources are created. If it takes too long, we'll pause the video. But right now we're at 72%. So I'm going to just start reading ahead the next directions while I wait for that. So after it's complete, we'll view the VPC. And the wizard has provisioned a VPC with a public subnet and a private subnet in one availability zone with route tables for each subnet. It also created an internet gateway and a NAT gateway. All right, so there's our picture right there. That's exactly what we just created. 10.0.1.0, 10.0.0.0. Makes sense now. Let's see, the internet gateway is a VPC resource. If you're taking notes, that looks like the kind of thing to copy and paste. Let's see, the lab subnet public 1 US East-1A has a CIDR, right? That means it contains all the IP addresses. Got it. A NAT gate. These are good definitions. Yeah, you definitely want to make note of these so you know what they mean. Even if you're rusty or you don't know your subnetting as well as you would like to, it's good to know that 10.0 addresses, those are RFC 1918 addresses. They don't route out to the internet. Those are internal, like you might use in your business or even your house. There's another private IP address you might be familiar with, the 192.168, etc., etc. You're good for that. So let's pause the video and we'll come back at 100%. All right, we hit 100% and the View VPC button is available now. So here we are. We can go through some of the details on our cloud. Let's see, it's available. We've got a VPC ID. That's a little small in my browser, but I think you'll be able to make it. You'll be able to figure it out. So let's look at subnets. So I've got lots of subnets here. Let's look at our route tables. Here's our route tables. Okay. We already read the definition. So let's go on to task 2. Oh, task 2. You know what I should do? I should take a screenshot of the VPC of my VPCs. So we can go look at this project VPC. We'll go back to that. And let's grab our screenshot right now. All right, I've got my first screenshot to submit. Okay, task 2, create additional subnets. In this task, you'll create 2 additional subnets for the VPC in a second availability zone. Now, if you scroll way back up, remember this is a long assignment, you'll see what we're trying to build. That's usually a good idea to have the diagram handy so you can confirm with the diagram what it is you're clicking on in the cloud. In this case, the instructions are pretty straightforward. we'll just follow them one at a time. So we'll choose subnets in the left pan, and we'll create our first we'll create a second public subnet. Whew, okay, got it. So we'll choose create subnet. And we're going to say for the VPC ID, we're going to choose the lab VPC, which is project VPC, I guess, is our lab VPC. We didn't call it lab-VPC. It must be project VPC. And then our subnet name, let's see, subnet name, that's going to be lab subnet public 2. Let's see, availability zone, they want US East 1B. So US East 1B. IPv4 CIDR block, so this one's going to be, I got to change that here. Can I type in it? IPv4 CIDR block. Oh, that's the VPC CIDR block. I guess I need to change the subnet CIDR blocker. The subnet will have all IP addresses starting with 0.2. So that's got to be here. 10.0.2.0/24. Okay. Got it. It didn't say to change this one, but it's a little confusing because, well, you'd like it to say subnet right there, but I think that's what it means. We'll find out. So let's choose create subnet. I mean, if it doesn't work, then we'll have to come back and fix it. As you do more of the labs, you'll get used to the notation provided in the labs. So we created subnet. The second public subnet was created. You'll now create a second private subnet. All right, so we'll choose create subnet again. You've successfully created a subnet. Let's go create another one. We're going to choose our project VPC. Maybe we should have named it lab. Are you screaming yet at your computer that we skipped it? So we'll say lab subnet private 2, lab subnet private 2. The availability zone will be US East 1B. Now let's get our subnet, which is going to be 10.0.3.0/24. Okay, it gives us lots of IP addresses in the 3, and we will choose create subnet. See, so the second private subnet was created. You'll now configure the new private subnet to route internet-bound traffic to the NAT gateway so that resources in the second private subnet are able to connect to the internet while still keeping the resources private. This is done by configuring a route table. Route table, notice it's another little definition. You might want to copy and paste that. The route table contains a set of rules called routes that are used to determine where network traffic is directed. Each subnet in a VPC must be associated with a route table. So in the left-hand navigation, let's choose route tables. Route tables. I see a bunch of route tables here, and we're going to select the lab RTB private 1. So project, I guess that's project RTB private 1. Select it like that. Let's see. Select, there's a checkbox there. Route tables. Note, if the newly created route tables are not visible, choose refresh. So let me scroll this over here. Let's see what we got. I can see that the private is there. I got the private, so that must be good. In the lower pane, choose the routes tab. So this is the route table. This is the routes tab. Note the destination 000 is set to target NAT. Let's see, destination target is NAT. This means traffic destined for the internet will be sent to the NAT gateway. The NAT gateway will then forward traffic to the internet. So it's being used to route traffic from private subnets. So let's choose subnet associations right here. Scroll this up a little bit. And so we created this in task 1. So here's our subnet associations as far as I can scroll it anyway. I'm going to keep the browser small. Maybe for the next lab I'll make everything a little bigger, and then you'll just have to zoom in on YouTube, I think. So now that we have created another private subnet, lab subnet private 2, you will associate this route table with that subnet as well. So in the explicit subnet association panel, choose edit subnet associations. So I've got subnets without explicit, and I have explicit subnet associations. So this says explicit subnet associations. So in this panel, I'm going to choose this. So now I've edited the subnet. So let's leave this one selected, project subnet private 1, but also select lab subnet private 2. Lab subnet private 2 right there. Now we're going to save. Let's save that association. Okay, so far so good. Now we're going to configure the route table that's used by the public subnets. So we have to select the lab RTB public. Might be up here some. Let me drag this down. So the lab is, well, it says project lab RTB public. We're going to select that one, but I don't need this one selected. Yep, deselect any other subnets. In the lower pane, choose the routes table. So this is selected, the public. Let me go back down here. I'll choose routes. You're just going step by step. Once you do this a few times, you won't even need the directions. You'll just be able to set this up yourself. So note the destination is set to IGW. Internet is set to the IGW. It's good. You'll now associate this with the second public subnet you created. So we'll go to the Associations tab. And again, we're going to go to the explicit subnet associations here. We'll edit those. Leave subnet public 1 US East 1 selected, but also select, am I missing something else? Here we go. Also select lab subnet public 2, this one here. So there's both of them. Both of them are public, so we're going to leave that and save association. We now have public and private subnets configured, so that looks good. So that's task 2. Let me grab another screenshot for the homework. I'll grab the whole AWS console. That way, when it gets submitted, we'll be able to see the whole thing, the name and the fact that it's using Voc Labs and everything else here. So task 3, now we're going to create a security group. That's our firewall. It says virtual firewall, but I think all firewalls are virtual. So we can just call it a firewall. So now on the left navigation pane, choose security groups. So now we have to scroll through until we find security groups under security. Remember, the labs only have 4 hours open, but that's not too long. If you need to pause your lab and go take a break and get a sandwich and come back and finish it, you have 4 hours to do a 30-minute lab. So go ahead. We're just going to power through. I'll take a break afterwards. So we'll choose create security group and then configure. So I'm already in security groups. I'll choose create security group and then configure. The security group name is going to be the web security group. I'll just copy and paste that. Security group name, web security group. The description is going to be enable HTTP access. That is Hypertext Transport Protocol, port 80. And VPC, we're going to choose the X to remove the currently selected VPC. We don't know what that one is. Where's the X? Not that. And we need to choose this project VPC. So here's an example where the user interface has changed from the time the lab was created to the time that you're clicking on this in your browser. And sometimes the console looks different in Safari or Chrome or Edge or in this case, I'm using Firefox, and it's blocking all kinds of scripts over here. So it might even look different in your Firefox. We'll see. Let's go to the inbound rules panel. Okay, now when you're taking your time doing the lab yourself, you can always click on all these tabs. Like you can click on the info tab and learn more about security groups. Or you can just follow this and do this multiple times. So we're going to add a rule. The type is going to be HTTP. So we might have to scroll through. The type is HTTP. It didn't say HTTPS, so we'll choose that. The source is going to be anywhere IPv4. Can I just say anywhere IPv4? Maybe it's under source type. There we go. So the source is anywhere IPv4. I'm just going to choose that from source type. So there's another little discrepancy. Sometimes you just have to look around. And the description is going to say permit web requests. Notice it's slightly grayed out over here. It says port 80, and slightly grayed out over here it says TCP. These are not secure connections. This is a TCP connection, non-secure. So it's port 80 connection to the server. In the real world, we hardly ever use port 80 anymore. We almost exclusively use 443 in order to get that HTTPS, have that certificate there. So let's scroll to the bottom of the page and choose Create Security Group. So I didn't make any other changes. I'm just following the rules. Let's see what the lab instructions say. And it looks like that's the end of the task. So let me grab a screenshot here. Boom, looks good. I'll save that. Okay, task 4, launch a web server instance. All right, so now we're going to launch an EC2 instance into the new VPC. So we're going to fire up a virtual machine that has Linux and Apache and some files on it. Cool. So in the search box to the right of services, search for and choose EC2. So come over here. I will search for and choose EC2. It's one of my favorites here. Okay. From the Launch Instance menu, choose Launch Instance. Oh, I see Launch Instance right here, and I see Launch Instance. So let's just click it. So let's give it the name Web Server 1. I'll go ahead and copy and paste that. Web Server 1, Web Server 1. When you name your instance, AWS creates a tag and associates it with the instance. A tag is a key value pair. The key for this pair is name, and the value is the name you entered. Okay, we might need that tag later, so we'll see. We can add additional tags if we need to. Choose an AMI. So the AMI is a pre-built computer that's saved so that when you launch it, it expands into the full operating system exactly the way it was saved, called a machine image. So we're going to choose the default Amazon Linux. It's already selected here. Notice you have some other choices. Maybe in another lab, you might want to launch Mac OS or Windows or Red Hat. You can come back and launch these various instances and just connect into them. That's pretty fun. So we'll also keep the default Amazon Linux 2023. All right, Amazon Linux 2023. Now, if you choose other operating systems or other instances, you'll have to know on that particular operating system how to do the rest of the steps. So for this lab, I'm going to go ahead and just follow the steps. We'll make exactly what we want, and then later I could come back and launch an Ubuntu server tab, Ubuntu server EC2 machine or something. Let's see, choose an instance type. In the instance type panel, choose T2.micro. Now this is where something might have changed because T3.micro is now the new T2. But we could just go select T2.micro because that's what it says. T3.micro is a better machine, but since the directions are very specific about T2.micro, I'm just going to select that. Even if it said leave the default T2.micro and this said t3.micro, I would just select that and change it. So in this case, I really want to match the lab directions so that everything's just working fine. Now the other thing is we're going to need this key pair associated. And I did not go to the details and download that key pair. So let's see if it's here as I expect it to be. Oh, there's my Voc key pair. Good. I have under details on the lab, no, under AWS details in the lab, I can probably download the key for that. I think it's in, yeah, here. The CLI, the SSH key. I might want that before the lab is over in case I want to connect into that machine. So let's configure the network settings. All right, so scroll down a little bit. I'll bring this up to the top. It says next to the network settings, choose edit. Next to the network settings, choose edit. Oh, look, it's way over there. And we're going to configure the network is going to be lab-VPC, but I think ours is called project VPC. So let's find out. Project VPC. Now here's something. It says network, but this says VPC. Network setting VPC. This is a little unclear. So good job if you've already made it this far on your own figuring out what's happening. Why does it change? It's going to change. The next one, we're going to choose the lab subnet public 2, not the private. Lab subnet public 2. Lab subnet public 2. That's our subnet. Okay. Then we're going to auto assign a public IP. So we have to allow that. That's going to let our computer grab an IPv4 address out in the world from the limited supply that Amazon has access to. And for that brief while, for that glorious hour or two, we'll be able to access our server by an IP address. Okay. Next, we'll have to configure the instance to use the web security group that we created earlier. So under the firewall security group, we're going to select an existing security group, and there's our web security group that we created. All right. Number 40. In the configure storage section, so let me scroll to the configure storage, right? It says keep defaults. The default settings specify that the root volume will host the Amazon Linux guest operating system that you specified earlier, will run on an SSD that's 8 gigabytes. 8 gigabytes, GP3, root volume, okay. It says I could add more storage volumes if I wanted to, but we don't need it for this lab. So this time I won't do it, but maybe I'll come back a second time and try some other, see if I can add a 256 gig drive and copy over something. So we're right now over to step 41. Step 41 has some fun stuff. We have to click on Advanced Details. Advanced Details. Scroll to the bottom of the page and copy and paste the code shown below. So I'm going to scroll to beyond all these advanced details. I'm going to keep going. Oh, and it says user data. Upload a file with your user data or enter it in the field. This is not where you upload. This is not where you upload your HTML file. You need to upload this code. So you could have all this code in a file, and let's take a look at it real quick. See if I can make this a little bigger. So this is going to run a bash script that will install the Apache web server and PHP. So it's going to go into that Amazon Linux and install, saying yes, the web server, wget, PHP, and MariaDB 105. So MariaDB is the database. You could run WordPress on this. You could run all of your CISW 31 classes on this. Then we're going to download the lab files. All right. I'm just going to read as we go through. This is going to use wget in order to go out to Amazon somewhere on an S3 bucket and download this zip file. Well, I have a zip file I want to download too. So let me run another command. I'm going to download the lab HTML file. I'm not sure exactly how this is going to go, but let's give it a try. We'll do it live. I put my file also on Amazon S3, and I have mine as a zip. So in fact, I should move this. So first we're going to download the lab files, wget, and then we're going to unzip that file. And we'll just copy what they have. Unzip lab app.zip-d. And we're going to go ahead and we'll just unzip my file, Sable lab.html.zip -d/var/www/html. So I think my file is called Sable_lab.html. It should be in the web server file once we're done. So then this command is going to go turn on the web server, because remember, this is all happening in the cloud. You're not sitting in front of your computer like we are right now. So I'll turn on the web server and start it right here. We'll make sure that it's working. So this is with the check config. Is it on? Yes. Good. Then service start. So we'll see. This may or may not work. If it doesn't work, I might add some content to the video later, like a big thing that goes because this particular step I haven't tested while I was recording the video. At the bottom of the summary panel on the right side of the screen, choose launch instance. So there's summary. Let's choose launch instance. Here we go. Now we need to wait while the instance launches. Oh, that went really fast. Never mind. Wait until web server 1 shows 2 of 2 checks passed. So here's the launch log. There's 2 checks passed. Everything's good. It looks good. So let's go. Oh, it says may take a few minutes. Wow. Okay. Now we have to connect to the running web server. So we got to select web server 1. Where are you going to take us to? Maybe we'll go back and view all instances. Did we miss another step? Choose view all instances. There we go. So there's web server 1. It's running. It's in good shape. So we're going to select web server 1. There's our panel down here on the bottom. Move that over, give us a little more data on the screen. And let's copy the public IPv4 DNS address. And then we're going to open a new browser tab and paste it in. That is the public IP address? No, I grabbed the wrong one. That's not going to work. I grabbed the private IP address. I need this public IPv4. That's what I need right there. Are you shouting at your screen yet? It's okay. If we were doing this in the classroom, you'd be shouting at your screen too. All right, we're going to go ahead and go to the HTTP site. All right, this looks good. Instance ID, availability zone. Let's just for fun, let me go put in see if this worked. Ruh-roh. I better go make sure that's what I actually called it. Oh, I called it Sable-lab, not _lab. I should give it a better name. So this one's running. I'm going to go ahead and take this screenshot because this is really fun. That's going to be good to turn in. But also, let's go back. Let's go back here. And what I want you to notice is this says US East 1. Let me refresh. It's US East 1B, US East 1B. Is it ever going to switch to 1A? It's supposed to switch on us. Let's see what this says. Open the web. You should see a web page displaying the AWS logo and the instance metadata values. Okay. I think eventually it might switch to 1A if we need it. Ooh. We got a load test and See if we can get one. Nope, no 1A there. Now we could test the database if we need to, and if we click here, it takes us back to the, we're still in 1B, but that's all right. So that's our lab. All you have to do is submit the screenshots into Canvas. Now for this lab right here, now that we did this, you're going to want to go ahead and submit it, just because we'll see it in the AWS Academy. But for now, good work.